Hello and welcome to another episode of the Wandering Watercolor. So basically, today I'm just going over the 6th page of the Cute Cats watercoloring book that I make myself from scratch using lithographs. And basically, you can follow along. If you want, you could just draw out the picture that I have. Or you could just buy the book. That's always much appreciated. It'll be in the description below. But anyway, let's get straight to the painting. So basically, this is the one that we're working on today. And this is the one that we did last time. It actually came out really well. I really like this one. The coloring pattern for this one is very similar. It's kind of like a light, well, it's actually the coat of this kitten is much darker, so it'll be kind of a dark brownish bluish with some brownish orange spots here and there. This part is just white, like this is just white, and then this is the dark spots. The light is coming in from up here, so it's going down, so the shadow will be over here. And we have some green and reddish orange for the flower. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The palette that I'm using is the one that I make myself. These are pocket palettes that come with a brush. Again, description for this will be in the link for that will be in the description. And I'm using the same brush that is in the palette. And I have a jar of water here on the side. So I don't have to continue replenishing the little reservoir. And I also have a rag. And let's start painting. The very first thing is, so the dark part of the coat of this kitten is much darker than the previous one. So I'll basically just be using a lot of the black, which this black that I have here is very dark blue, really. It's not like a pure black. And I'll add some brown to kind of give it to dull the blue in the black. Okay, so the coat of this cat is very dark, so I'm not going to dilute it too much with water, just a little bit so I have more to work with. And then just going straight in. I'm going straight in and grabbing some more color, laying it down over here, filling that in, and then maybe leave a couple of spots here and there. There are some orange spots on this kitten. Yeah, and you can kind of pick where you put them. They don't have to be exactly like mine. One right there. One over here. And some over here, closer to the line. Okay. So that's good. And then for the head, mix all that in, put it in here. Okay. And this is going to be orange, and a little bit around the eye here. It's going to be some orange. But we'll close in like that. Don't worry about it too much. Don't overthink it. Just kind of lay it down. Another orange spot up here. And some right there. Next to the eye. I don't like this one over here, so I'll just fill that in. And now we're moving into the arm or leg, I guess. Front leg. Although cats do kind of use their front legs like arms. So go like that. This little spot right here, that's going to be orange. So we have all that. And I'm going to make a little bit of some strokes right there. And then some strokes right here. In the back. To show the fur. There we go. Maybe add a little bit to show the distinction there. And a little bit right there. And in the arm. And a little bit right here just to show. Not too much, just ever so slightly. And right here as well. If you try to focus and go slowly, you can get a lot of variability with watercolor, even if you're just using the same brush. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so while we let that dry, then we will get some more just straight black and then just dilute it with some water. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough. This is going to be for the shadow. Now the shadow, it's coming in like this, so the shadow is going to be down here. So what we're going to do is go like that. Got a little hair on my brush. Go like that and connect it. And also like that, and we can kind of fade it out as it gets larger. So a little bit like that, because you know how shadows just kind of fade out. Go just like that. And later on we can make the areas of contact. We'll darken these a little bit because if you pay attention to a shadow, there is some difference in how dark certain areas are. But okay, now while that's drying, then we will focus on the flower. And the most common technique for watercolor painting is just to do one layer and then add another layer for the shadows. That's usually what I stick to when I'm doing more simple paintings like this. Now, if I'm working on a commission or a piece for a competition, it's a lot more complicated than that. And I will add some videos on this channel showing that. So let's just do a flat wash on the stem and leaves of the flower. All I did was I mixed some of the bright yellow with the orange yellow and the green. I kind of mixed it to a point where I liked what it looked like. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of throw in some green. And I might do a couple of strokes like this, like down here. Just like give a suggestion of some grass. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that's good. The next thing we will mix is the color for the ears, the nose, and the little pads here for the kitten. If you got some green into the yellow orange here, you could just grab it and then rinse it off, and then grab some more without any of the green in it, and then grab a little red, mix it in. And that's a pretty good orangish pinkish color for the pads. So we'll just go ahead and do a flat wash right there. That's fine. And right there. You know what? we should make it a little redder. We'll go right there. We'll get some burgundy. There we go. Okay, that's a little better. We'll put that in on the nose. A little pink nose, pinkish, kind of like salmon colored. And do right there, right there, right there, and right there. And I got some of the green in there. That's okay. What we'll do is just dry off the brush and then pick it up and just clean it up. Just rub it off on the rag and okay, so that's fine. The black fur of the cat is pretty much dry by now. So we're gonna get some of the yellow orange, put it down. These porcelain plates, they're just soap dishes, and you can pretty much get them at any store, really, or you could just order them online if you really want to go that route. But honestly, you could just grab like a small porcelain dish that you eat off of. These paints are completely safe. They wash out completely. They're non-toxic, so there shouldn't be any problem with that. Okay, so now we're gonna grab some of the brown and get kind of like an orange brownish, and put a little red in there. And a little more brown. There we go. Okay. Now these we'll just put in here, here. They don't have to look perfect. Just put them in, because we will go back in and add darker tones to the dark part of the fur, and you'll see it'll come together a lot better then. Put that here and here around the forehead next to the right eye, and that little piece right there. Okay. And now while that's drying, we can go ahead and add some more. Just grab a little more dark for the shadow. I'm just gonna darken up parts of the shadow. Not all of it, just some parts. And go right there. And here for the paw. Okay, now I'm gonna rinse off the brush, dry it off, and kind of blend it in. When I'm drying it off, I'm not drying it off completely. I still want it to be somewhat moist, because that's what helps spread the color around. There we go. Perfect. And then I'll probably go in and do another one just to straighten, just to outline more where the contact with the ground is. But now that this part is pretty much dry, we'll go back in for another layer on the fur. We'll grab some of the dark color here because we want it to be a little darker. And we'll go ahead and we'll just go like that. That way we can kind of shape the spots a little better. You can just go right on top of them. Okay. Okay, we go in there. Now, the coat, the dark parts of the coat are really dark, but still there is some change in the color because of the light that's hitting the cat from behind. We'll go right there. We'll kind of dilute or blend this in. Just wipe it off on the rag and then blend it in. Okay. We're gonna add a couple of layers of that as it dries. You'll see it'll start looking a lot better. I know it looks a little weird right now, but it will look a lot better when we add more contrast. And this one too, and same for right here. Go right there, kind of blend that in, clean it off, dry it off, blend that in. And the same for the head. These orange spots, we will apply a layer to darken them to show shadow on them. We're just not going to worry about that right now because we're strictly focusing on the fur. Okay. Okay, and now we'll gradate or blend in that part. And there we go. Okay, that's good. We'll leave that like that, let it dry, and we'll apply some more towards the bottom here. As we're applying it, oh crap. See, I accidentally went straight on the paper as I was mixing. It was right next to it, so never mind. We will... Okay, let's see. So we can make something out of this. We'll just go like that. And we'll add a little bit on this corner to balance it out. No worries. See, kind of framed it. Talk about happy accidents, right? So I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown, a little bit of the black. You'll often hear me refer to this as dark blue / black because it's not. This isn't a pure black. It's just really dark blue. Okay. Now go in right here. And just kind of layer it in. Again, avoiding those orange spots. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that's looking better, a little more definition, a little more contrast. It's more interesting for the eye to look at. But once this dries, it will also get much lighter. So we will have to reapply another coat of that. Go right there. Okay, see, this part is not completely dry, but that's okay. We can have it kind of distribute there. Just dab it in the part that's wet, and it'll kind of flow out gradually. Go down here. And over here. So far, this cat kind of looks interesting by itself. I like it. Okay, so now we're gonna get some of the green. We're gonna darken up parts of this flower. I'm gonna get a little bit of burgundy here, because that'll help That'll really help make a much darker. Yeah, see how much darker that got? Let's get some of the orange yellow. Okay, and a little more burgundy. Okay, and a little more green. That's not looking exactly how I wanted it. We'll get more of that. Uh-oh. Some of that stuff is flowing in. So that's when we're gonna get our trusty rag. Just kind of separate it. There we go. Okay, so that's fine. So the light is coming down like this. So some of the underneath of the stem and the leaves will be darker. And that's just kind of what we're trying to emphasize here. Doesn't have to be a great deal, just a little bit like that. We can actually even give a little bit of a shadow here for the flower. We'll move our clip out of the way. Just go like that to be consistent with the direction in which the shadow is moving. Go like that. That looks fine. Now we're gonna go back in. You see how much lighter it became as it dried? Now we will go back in for this. I'm just gonna go straight, like I'm not even gonna dilute it with water. I'm just gonna go straight for the pigment and just go straight down here. Go like that. There we go. Messed up the paw there. That's okay. I'm not gonna pay too much attention to that. Okay, so we got that. Actually, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get my trusty piece of scrap paper. I'm gonna do a couple of strokes just to kind of get a lot of the pigment out of the brush. And so that's good enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put in little lines where the toes are, just to give it some suggestion, maybe a little suggestion on the fur there. Kind of help bring it out a little bit, make it more apparent. Kind of like that. If it's not 100%, like it doesn't have to be consistent. You just need to have, like I picked up some of the darker here and it went into the toe. That's completely fine. It gives it a little more character. There we go. I might even pick up more just to see, just to make it stick out a little more. There we go. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm gonna avoid doing that on the top, because on the top there's light hitting it. On the bottom it's okay because it'll be more consistent with the overall composition. Okay. And I am going to go in and darken the white spots of the legs when I start transitioning over into the shadow for that. The reason why I'm putting so much emphasis on the shadow of the dark part of the fur is because once we put the shadow layer on, it's going to go over everything so that it stays consistent. Because if you do the shadow parts individually, it won't look consistent. You'll see what I mean. Let's add some more darkness. Crap, this poured into the green again. But let's add some more contrasting color here for the fur. There we go. Kind of like that. Do some short strokes to make it look like fur. Like that. And over here. Okay. Okay, going in the head. just to show the separation of the head from the body. That's not actually something that would really happen in real life. I mean, there may be some distinction because of the depth, but we're emphasizing that more than it would happen in real life, just because we want to be able to see the difference. Okay, and a little bit over here because the ear would cast somewhat of a shadow onto the head. Go like there. And grab a little more. And don't forget down here, add a little more definition. There we go. Okay, not too bad. Not bad. Okay, so the next part will be, we'll add a little color right here for the flower. The flower is pretty red, so we're just going to mix some of this previous color that we had, a little red, and we're just going to lay it right in. Now at that point, it kind of brings the attention, the entire attention of the piece directly into the red, because red is such a strong color. But because it's watercolor, it will fade and it won't be as attention grabbing, although it'll still be kind of a central point for the whole composition, because when you look at it, everything kind of brings your eyes to right here. That's where the cat is looking at, that's kind of where its body is positioned, and you have this curve going up. It's all kind of concentrated right here. So it's okay to add the red in there because your attention is pretty much going in that direction anyway. And having the little orange spots helps balance that out, because orange is obviously also a very warm color and attention grabbing. This will actually, you know what? If you grab your rag and then just dab it and then pick it up and just change it to a dry portion of the rag and do it again. Oops, shook my camera there. There we go. Okay, so that's good. So we gave it some time to saturate the paper, but then we picked up a bunch of the pigment off so that it's not oversaturating it. And we'll probably add more to it, but what that does is it gives us the time to work with it, because we can add more intensity to it slowly, as opposed to worrying about trying to balance the rest of the piece. So that's fine. But what we will do now is we'll grab some of that red, maybe add a little bit of brown into it right here, maybe add a little burgundy, just kind of darken it up. Okay, perfect. So get that. We'll add a sliver for the ear right there, and a little more right there. That's probably too red, but it's okay. We'll go right there. A little nose. So I'm actually more comfortable with leaving that like that in order to add some red to the flower, because it gives it more balance. Like, it's not just concentrated here, but it helps the eye move around. So if the whole composition is concentrated into here, you see the red, but then your eye moves over to the other red parts and gives you a chance to look at the rest of it. Okay, we have that drying, and once again we will go in and darken the dark part of the fur. So we'll grab some more here. It's okay if that's mixed. We're pretty much done with the green, so it's okay if that goes down and mixes. Won't worry about it too much. Add maybe a little brown. You can tell that as we're adding the dark part, I'm moving more from the brown into just the black. And okay, we'll go in again. This hind leg. We might actually leave this as it is right here, add a little more definition down here, but because you want to separate that the leg that's more closer to us from the one in the back. So we'll probably just leave it like that, add a little bit here, and then like that. There we go, a little bit in the head. That's looking good. More here, more for the shadow. Right there. And right there. Okay. Oh, we can't forget this little paw. Right here. And right there. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how that looks so far. We're gonna let that dry right here so that we can add the shadow towards everything. While that's drying, we will go ahead and grab some black, just black pigment, just directly from the palette. Grab our scrap paper and practice a couple of short strokes. When you have more pigment rather than water on the brush, you can kind of shape it. This isn't a very good brush for detail, but you can kind of just shape it and do a couple of practice strokes and be like, okay, that's sufficient. We can work with that. So we'll go right here. Go right there. The reason I'm doing that is because this part is black and it doesn't let the upper lips of the cat stand out. And then we'll do just a couple little dabs for the dots where the whiskers would be. You can draw whiskers on there if you want to and add them after we're done. Anything really is fine. It's just that I'd rather not do that, just because you can really mess up the whole picture if you just kind of go in, like try to add the whiskers in there. Now, as you can tell, the eyes here, they don't have anything on them. We're just gonna add a little dot right there. That's all. And then same for right here. That's it. That's all we're gonna do. 2 little dots. That's all we're gonna do. And then we're gonna do a couple of strokes more onto the scrap paper. And that lightens up the load on the brush. And then we're gonna grab, we're gonna do a line right there and a line right there. And that helps emphasize where the ears are. I'm gonna do a little more right there. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so that's looking good so far. This kitten does have some outlines, so we'll around the eyes. That's what we'll work on next. Get a little bit of black here again. Practice some short strokes, make sure we can get those thin lines. Okay, that's looking good. And then we will go right there. And right around. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you just go slow. And there we go. That's it. We don't need to do any more than that. That looks good. I will use what color is left on my brush to again emphasize some of the darks in the dark parts of the dark spots on the coat. That's a lot of dark. Okay. Go right there. There we go. Add it all in. Okay. And we add some more there. Okay, put it in there. And okay, I might add a little bit right there just for the clarity of where the legs are. And like right there, maybe a little bit for the toes. You got to remember that these dark colors, they do dry very light. That's really kind of a point that I keep trying to drive. That's just the nature of watercolor. But that's good because it helps give you time to build up those high contrasts. We'll wash that off. Dry off on our rag. Okay, so next we will focus a little bit on the flower. We'll get a little bit more of the red. You know what? Grab a little burgundy, mix it in there, and go underneath right there. Since it's the central point, I don't mind the red sticking out a little more. But remember, that's not going to look that bright. This will not stay looking this bright. It'll dry out and it'll become much less saturated. Kind of like when we painted the ears and the nose. If you rewind the video, you'll see how much brighter they looked, but now that they've dried, they look just right. And so that's kind of a hard thing with watercolor, and it just comes with experience. Once you get enough experience, you can be like, okay, I can put this much here, this much there, and then let it dry, and then comfortably play around with the intensity of it. The next part will be here where the color of the eyes is. For that, all we're going to do is we will grab some of this green, which honestly it's more of a blue green than it is green. We're gonna kind of just kind of move the color around a little bit because that helps even out the pigment. And then make sure that there isn't too much on your brush. Grab your scrap piece of paper. Okay, that looks good. All we're going to do is we're just going to go in where the white spot is and just going to apply that. See. I ruined it a little bit because the black from the pupil kind of ran off. That's okay. You just dry off the brush on the rag and then just pick it up. That's fine. I'm not going to mess with it any more than that. Well, actually I will because this is running into it. You may want to wait a little more just to make sure that that black in the eyes is completely dry. But that doesn't look terrible. That's fine. You can tell completely what's going on and where the kitten is looking at. That's fine. Okay, so now we will move into the part where we will add the shadows. The shadows for the rear legs, the front legs, and kind of in here. So for that, we do need to dilute the color quite a bit. So I'm gonna pick up a bunch of it and then just throw it in the jar. Pick up a bunch more, throw it in the jar. Do that a couple of times, as that will get rid of a lot of the pigment. And then just kind of work with what I have right here. So this is highly diluted. It has pigment in it, obviously that's visible. I'll grab some of it and I'll do like that. And that actually looks fine in terms of a shadow. So we can just go ahead and jump in and start using it. Like you're going for something like this. Like that color is Perfect. Now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and, so the light again is coming from here. The shadow will be more down here, like on the opposite side of where the light is hitting. So we'll go right here. Go like that. And back here, pick up some of the dark color like that. Go on top of where the orange is. Go a little more right there, like that. Maybe halfway for these spots. Fully for this one. Kind of a little bit here. And a little bit right here. And go for the color again. Add it for where the toes are. A little bit on the inside. A little bit to show where the fold of the foot is. Over here, underneath the neck for the kitten. Over here for where the mouth is, and then here on the leg. And I'm probably not gonna bother with it much more than this, but that looks, yeah, that looks pretty much kind of like what I was going for. I do notice a little bit right here on the top. We can kind of just cover that a little bit. That's fine. It's a little white spot, but it's not that bothersome. But basically that's the finished product. So it's interesting, if you go all the way back to the beginning where it's just not colored at all, and you go all the way here, you can see how we transitioned into everything, and you just kind of work at it, make it a little more contrasting over time. And that's, yeah, I'm happy with how that one looks. Okay. So that's pretty much it for that. That was, oh boy, 40 minutes. But yeah, with watercolor, you can't rush it. You just kind of have to pace yourself and see how it goes, get a feel for it. If I wasn't recording these, I could probably get them done in like 20 minutes. But recording them, I have to think a lot about what I'm going to say and how I'm going to lay the colors down as I explain it. But hopefully it makes sense. If you have any feedback for me, please let me know. I'm obviously very new at this. And I will be doing another one fairly soon for the next page of the watercoloring book. If you're interested in seeing any of that, it's all in the description for my Etsy shop and my website. And thank you very much if you bought the watercoloring book from me. I work hard on them, so I appreciate your business. Other than that, I will see you next time.